This is Maria Ressa, CEO and President of Rappler. So, what does the world need now? Well, it's very clear. The reason I became a journalist was because I believed information is power. And what the world needs today is to recognize that the technology that we had hoped would be a force for good has, in the past few years, actually exploded what is like an atom bomb in our information ecosystem. And what we need to do is to recognize that problem. And what is it? I mean, succinctly, it's exactly what American biologist E.O. Wilson classified as Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. Our technology, social media platforms in particular at this point in time, has become a behavior modification system. And the users, in the case of Facebook, for example, you're talking about 3.7 billion users around the world. We have become Pavlov's dogs. Uh, and let me quantify what that means. Today, when you put a post on a social media platform, regardless of what it is, machine learning uses that atomized content, that data, and pulls it together to build a model of who you are. And artificial intelligence then takes that at scale and serves your most vulnerable moment to a message, whether it is to a company, the new advertising, or to a government, exponential propaganda. Our data, our essence, is sold in a business model that Shoshana Zuboff calls surveillance capitalism. So, what has it done? Well, aside from making a lot of money for Silicon Valley companies, it has it has broken facts. It has divided and radicalized. We've gotten to the point where the research shows that lies laced with anger and hate spread faster and further than facts. So you could actually see from the research that social media platforms, Facebook, the world's largest distributor of news, is actually biased against facts and biased against journalism, biased against journalists. So for someone like me in the Philippines, um, I have had 10 criminal cases. I've had to post bail 10 times in less than 2 years just to keep doing my job. And I run the risk I could go to jail for the rest of my life. And all of this, these attacks, the methodology of exponential attacks bottom up and then top down from the president himself, then using the levers of democracy to subvert democracy, all of this could mean that I could go to jail for the rest of my life. So, how do we deal with it? Um, DLD, you are asking what the world needs. So, what the world needs now is to realize that an atom bomb has gone off in our information ecosystem. And just like it did 75 odd years ago after Hiroshima, after the end of World War II, we need to come together for a global response to this insidious manipulation that is the core of every meaningful human engagement. Because if you don't have facts, you can't have truth. Without truth, you can't have trust. Without any of these things, democracy as we know it is dead. And I'll go one step further. All meaningful human endeavor is impossible if we don't have facts and a shared reality. And that's exactly what our information ecosystem today has ripped apart. So, how do we deal with this, right? We at Rappler in the Philippines, so Filipinos for the sixth year in a row, this is according to Hootsuite and We Are Social, Filipinos spend the most time on social media globally, 6 years running. We spend more than 10 hours, almost 11 hours a day on the internet. So, we're hyper connected, right? And actually easily to manipulate. So what do we do in Rappler, which is a digital startup, um, tech and journalism? Well, those are the pillars. We look at technology, journalism, and community. Those three things are critical, I think, to finding our way out of this. The first is there have to be regulations. The problem was that the information ecosystem was turned down. When journalists lost our gatekeeping powers to technology, we came under attack. And technology took the money but abdicated responsibility. So this is a year of reckoning. You've seen it in the United States on January 6th. It's almost like as we have the coronavirus in the physical world, in the virtual world, there is a virus of lies that actually is has infiltrated, has been released in the information ecosystem and infects real people. And it is contagious. And once you believe the virus of lies, whether it is pro Duterte or Trump's Stop the Steal or QAnon, once you believe that, it changes the way you look at the world. It's you have to be you're impervious to facts. So what do you do? So the first step is let's put the guardrails in place. If the tech platforms can't do it themselves, then legislation needs to come in. And we're seeing strong efforts from the EU, not surprisingly. UK came out with its online harms bill, and in the United States, Section 230 is being debated. But we argue that much more. I'm part of the real Facebook oversight board. We are actually think that there should be security, safety, and security, privacy. So to stop the surveillance capitalism that Shoshana Zuboff talks about. And then the last part is competition, right? We've seen what Facebook has done in Australia. What prevents, I think in many ways, this shows you exactly the kind of power Facebook has. The second thing is you have to strengthen journalists, medium sized news organizations, independent journalists who are standing up for the facts when the risks have increased. And in the time of coronavirus, as businesses shutter, as advertising is siphoned by the tech giants, independent news groups struggle to survive. The mission of journalism has never been as important as it is today. And that leads to the last part. We need to strengthen facts. So if legislation prevents the virus of lies from entering the ecosystem, we can begin to rehabilitate, and then journalists can continue a fact-based, evidence-based shared reality. If we are accountable for that, then we can begin to solve the world's problems, which require a global community, right? So what is that? The truth. So this is the battle for truth. Climate, that has been there for a long time. We are collectively living this. And then finally, the last one is what we're living through today, the coronavirus, health. I'm Maria Ressa. I'm in Rappler in the Philippines. It's time for us to come together to address the dysfunction, the dystopia of our information ecosystem. From there, we can move forward. Thank you.